Hello, my friends, and welcome to another reading video. All right, it is a new week, which means there are new letter sounds to practice. I always get so excited when we learn new things. It just means that we get to practice more and more together. We get to learn new things together. And even though we're getting closer and closer, and we're like this close to summer, we still need to do some learning. So make sure today and all week long you are practicing the letter sounds with me. Make sure you are practicing sounding the words out with me. That way you can keep practicing that over the summer. And when you hit second grade, your second grade teachers are going to be amazed at what rock star readers you all are. Okay? Let's talk about this week's letter sounds. So this week we are going to be working on the OI and OY sounds that make the OI sound. Say that with me. OI. Good. Let's say this word together. Toy. Do you hear it? Let's try a few more together. Ready? We have k, oi, n. Coin. All together, coin. Oil. Say it with me. Oil. There's that awesome word again. T, oi. Toy. Last one. B, oi. Boy. All right? So every time we see OI or OY, we know we're making the oi sound. So let's practice a few more together. Ready? Oil. Soil. All together, soil. Oi, n. Join. All together, join. Nice. Next one. Oi, n. Point. Sorry, you can't see that. See, it's shiny. Point. All together, point. Good. So those are our OI combinations. Now let's try the OY. Ready? Oi. Boy. Oi. Toy. Oi. Joy. Nice. So every time we see OI or OY, just put it in your super smart brains that they make the OI sound. All right. New week also means new sight words. Let's practice them together. Say it with me. Walk. Through. Only. By. Many of you live close enough you can walk to school next year. Oh, that's so exciting. And then you all get to come back. Through. I have to drive through town to get to school, but that's okay. I will do it every day to get to you adorable people. Only. I only live 30 minutes away. Does that seem like only? But you only live maybe 5 minutes away? Only. Last one. Buy. I had to buy a car to be able to drive to school. Buy. I guess I'm focused on us being at school today. All right, say them with me. Rapid fire. Ready? Walk. Through. Only. Buy. So this is, I'm going to buy something. I'm going to go to the store and buy my shoes. I'm going to buy some food. Where this isn't like, bye, see you later, or I live by the school. Kind of tricky how we have to pay attention to, even though it's the same word, depending on how it is spelled, it means different things. English is so frustrating, but that's why we practice. All right, friends, let's switch over and talk about today's work. All right, friends, here is what we need for today's work. We're going to talk about this week's reading log. We're going to do some sight words practice. We are going to work in our ELA work number 4 book, and we're going to do a little bit of writing in our journal. So I want you to go ahead and hit pause. Go grab these 4 books, grab your pencil, and come on back when you're ready. All right, if you're back with me, that tells me you have all the things. Let's talk about this week's reading log. Let's open up to the page that says My Fiction/Nonfiction Reading Log. Everybody a minute to turn there. Okay, So, as always, of course, you need to read your book. You're going to write the title of your book. Then you're going to choose if your story is fiction or nonfiction. So remember, fiction stories have not happened. So let's think pretend stories, make-believe stories, stories about superheroes or talking animals. Anything that's just a made-up, make-believe story is fiction. Nonfiction are stories that are real. So they're stories that really happened. They're stories that teach us about animals. They're stories that teach us about actual places. So one more time, fiction are stories that have not happened. Let's think about Froggy. Can frogs really talk? Do frogs really go to school? No. So if you read a Froggy book, that's going to be fiction. But let's think about the stories we are reading last week and this week about goods and services. Those are talking about things actually happening. So those are nonfiction because those are real stories about real people and real jobs. Okay? Fiction and nonfiction is tricky. I know we talked about it, oh my goodness, so long ago at the beginning of the school year. If you don't remember, and that's okay if you don't remember, let me know so we can talk about figuring out if your stories are fiction or nonfiction. But you're going to choose which one it is, and then you're going to tell me how you know. I know this because, so let's say Froggy bakes a cake. I'm going to say fiction. I know this because frogs can't really bake cakes. Frogs don't really eat cakes. Frogs don't live in houses. I could go on and on. Okay? Or I might say the title of my story is Goods and Services. I would say nonfiction. I know this because firefighters and police officers and teachers are all real people, right? Those services are all real jobs. Okay? Let me know if you have questions this week about our fiction, nonfiction reading log. Next thing we're going to talk about are our sight words. We're going to open up all the way to the word play. We are almost done with this sight words book too. I cannot believe how quickly the end of the year is coming. All right, you need a little more time. Just hit pause. Come back when you're ready. Say this word with me, play. Good, read the sentence with me. I love to play soccer. We're going to write it, find it, write it, draw it. Hit pause, work on play. Come on back when you're ready. Okay, if you're back with me, that tells me you're all done with play. Let's turn the page. The next word we're going to work on is spell. Good, say the sentence with me. We spell words in school. We write it, find it, write it, draw it. Hit pause, work on spell. Come on back when you're ready. Okay, if you're back with me, that tells me you're all done with spell. Now we're going to move right along to our ELA work number 4 book. We are going to open up all the way to page 32. If you need a little more time, just hit pause, come back when you're ready. We are going to work on finding those oi words and our high frequency words or our sight words. These pages are really good because it just teaches you to pay attention to those letter combinations in the words we're practicing this week, okay? So this week we are looking for words with the OY for oi, OI for oi, and then there are 2 words that are our high frequency words or our sight words that do not have the oi sound. So let's read the words together. Make sure you're saying these words with me out loud. Ready? Boy, buy, coin, join, joy, moist, point, spoil, toy, walk. Awesome. So, now that we've read through all of the words, I want you to take your time, and all of the words with the O-Y, oi sound are going to go in these 3 spots. The words with the O-I, oi, are going to go in these 5 spots. And then lastly, your last 2 words that do not have, so do not have the O-I sound, are going to go in 9 and 10. So hit pause, work on page 32, come back when you're ready. All right. If you're back with me, that tells me you're all done. Make sure you send me a picture of page 32 in Seesaw when you are all finished with today's video. Now, finally, we're going to open up our journal. We're going to open it up to the next blank page. And of course, first things first we have to stop and put our name at the top. I'm going to put my name. You put your name. And of course, we know today's date, because we've all watched Number Corner because it is oh so important, is 5-17-21. Okay. So now what we're going to do is we are going to draw a box. I'm going to draw it right here. And in that box, I'm going to write, in my opinion, ... goods and services are important. And I'm going to explain this in just a minute, but you take a minute, hit pause if you need to, write exactly that in your box, and come on back when you're ready. Okay, if you're back with me, that tells me you have the box. Here's what we're going to do. We're going to read a story about goods and services, and we are going to add things to our... Oh, my brain just went blank about... Mrs. Sae-Wong's brain just went blank. Our key details web. That's what it's called. Holy moly, that's what happens when I don't have enough coffee. We're making a web, which is basically where we draw, and we'll add thought bubbles as we read our story about goods and services that are important. So make sure that you give yourself enough room, because you're going to be adding thought bubbles as we read the story. So let's switch over and get to the story, and we can explain exactly what it's going to be all about. There we go. All right. So we can see the story on our left, and we can see the journal on our right. That way we can write together. So we're talking about in my opinion, which means we are going to be making an opinion about what goods and services are important. We talked about it some last week. We're going to do our work on our key details web today, and we're going to use our information from our web to write a journal entry tomorrow. So make sure that you are writing everything down with us today so that you have this in your journal for tomorrow's writing assignment. So, in my opinion means that's how I feel, what I think, what I believe is important. That's what our opinions are. What I think is important might be completely different from what you think. And that's okay. That's why we all are allowed to have our own opinions, our own feelings, our own beliefs. Okay? And as we read through this today, we're going to just talk about the different services that might be important to different people. So goods and services are important. In my opinion, goods and services are important. I mean, all goods and services, right? We need food. We need people to keep us healthy. We need teachers to teach, farmers to farm, all the things. So introduction. When we see introduction, that means it's introducing us to the story. It's going to give us an idea what the story is all about. So goods are things that people grow, make, buy, or sell. Food, clothing, cars, and homes are examples of goods. Services are work that people do for one another. For example, doctors, mechanics, and police officers provide services. All people need goods and services. In this book, you'll hear people's opinions about which goods and services are the most important to them. So before we go any further, let's add some things to our key detail web. Let's talk about goods. So goods are things and services are work. Okay, I'm going to write that and then I'm going to add my thought bubble around my thought. Because that's true, right? That's really important that we understand that. That goods are things. They're things we can buy or trade for. Services are work. That services are the people who work for us. Mechanics work on our cars. Doctors work on our bodies to keep us healthy. Grocery store workers work to keep the stores clean and stocked with all the food. So, goods are things and services, oops, that's an S, sorry. Services are work. Okay. Hit pause if you need some more time to write. I know sometimes I write and I go quickly, but we do have lots to do. So you just take your time, hit pause, come on back when you're ready. The next page says eating to survive. To survive means to live, right? We want to live, so that means we have to eat, and we have to eat healthy food. So in my opinion, the most important good is food because people cannot live without it. Food gives people energy. It helps people stay healthy. People grow, make, buy, and sell food. Food is more important than any other good. So that's the opinion of who wrote the stories. In their opinion, they think food is the most important. So I think that's important to add that, right? So food helps people, there's a little bug, live and stay healthy. Okay, so I'm going to add that, and I'm going to add my thought bubble around that idea. So these ideas are going to help us with our writing tomorrow, I promise. So make sure that you have these written in your book. Okay, let's keep moving. You hit pause if you need more time. Saving lives. In my opinion, doctors and nurses provide the most important service because they take care of people. Doctors and nurses give medicine to sick people. They help people get well. Doctors and nurses save lives every day. I think they perform the most important services. Okay, so doctors and nurses, why are they important? Well, they save lives. So doctors and nurses save lives and help sick people. Okay. Add my circle around my thought bubble. That was a big thought. My lines through my bubble, but that's okay. Doesn't have to be pretty, doesn't have to be perfect. It's all about the information being where we need it. Okay, I'm going to keep moving forward. You hit pause, you work on adding that thought bubble. Come back when you're ready. Using technology. Oh my gosh, technology has been so important to us this year, right? While we are all learning at home. So using technology. In my opinion, goods made for technology are important because they make people's lives easier. For example, telephones help people communicate. Computers help people do their work and learn new skills. Cars, buses, and airplanes take people where they need to go. Telephones, computers, and ways to travel make people's lives easier every day. So, technology. What can we say about technology? So, technology are they goods or services? Goods, right? Computers, phones, airplanes, cars. So technology is a good, although they do require people and services to be pilots to fly the plane, computer technicians to help us fix our computers when we can't figure it out ourselves, right? But when we're talking about just technology, we're talking about things which are the goods. So technology are goods that make people's lives easier. Another big thought bubble. I know it's a lot of writing, but I promise having all of this in front of us tomorrow is going to make it easier. Oops, I guess I need to zoom out so y'all can see that. There we go. Sorry, friends. Okay, let's keep going. You hit pause if you need more time. Helping us learn. In my opinion, teachers provide the most important service. They work hard to help children succeed. Teachers help students learn to read and write. They teach children how to explore and solve problems. Teachers provide the most important service of all. So let's add a thought bubble for teachers. So teachers help. How do they help? They help students learn. It says help, sorry. They help students learn and help students succeed. Succeed. Okay, last big thought bubble. Okay, you hit pause if you need more time. Conclusion. When we see conclusion, that means we're at the end of the story. We're wrapping up all of our thoughts, okay? So conclusion is, you just read 4 people's opinions about the goods and services that are most important to them. What good or service do you think is most important? We're going to talk about this today during our 11 o'clock meeting so that tomorrow in Tuesday's reading video, we can work on putting together a writing assignment. We're going to do some journal writing, explaining what service we think is most important or what good we think is most important. And we're going to work on explaining why. So that's why it's important that you have your web here for all the different ideas in the story so that you can make your opinion about what's most important. All right, friends, that is it for today. Make sure when you're all done, you send me a picture of your web in Seesaw so that I can see you have all of that important information written down. Let me know if you have any questions. If you want to go back and listen to the story again, it's as easy as just rewinding me and going back to the beginning. Let me know if you have questions. Otherwise, I will see your adorable faces in our 11 o'clock meeting. Bye, friends.